Welcome everyone, this is Derek, or Leica 101, and today's video is one that I've had put on the back burner for a while. I think the original person that asked for it was T. Walker, and it's called Researching a Subject. We've been discussing my infection campaign. Obviously infection deals with disease and plague, and he wanted to know how much research did I put into the campaign before I started it. And if I put in any, what kind of research did I put into it? And then I'm going to branch off that into good sources that I use for world creation, or just all around books for good reads, or things that really may help other DMs bring their world to life. So starting off with the original question is, what kind of research did I do for the infection campaign? Well, obviously I had to go into a little bit of research about disease. Since it was a demonic disease for infection, I had a little bit of leeway with it. But I wanted it to feel real. So I looked through, at school, my biology book and delved into cellular stuff, and how cells divide, mutate, etc. And then from that, I went to the best source that we have nowadays for anything, good old internet, and from the internet, looked up the Black Plague as the #1 starting point. Black Plague was the biggest outbreak of any disease, and probably one of the most memorable for anybody. Everybody knows about it. There's even a lovely children's nursery rhyme, ashes, ashes, we all fall down, ring around the rosy. Everybody remembers that. Yes, if you didn't know, it is about the Black Plague. So, sorry to spoil that little children's nursery rhyme for you, but it is about the Black Plague. From the biology book and cells dividing and Black Plague, I moved on into, at school, my psychology book. And if you think about it, that would be a natural evolution, because after the disease has been figured out and I've researched into it, what is the mental ramification of a disease spreading? So how are people going to handle it? How are other people going to react? Will it cause hysteria and panic? And how does that affect it? So those are the two major books that I really use, along with the internet, to really create the infection campaign. And while researching it, I came to the conclusion that maybe a lot of people don't really think about the researching implications for Dungeons and Dragons. There are so many books out there that, whether fiction or non-fiction, that really can be used to bring your world to life, to really add that next level of depth to your gaming. So what I'd like to do is take this time and discuss a few of my books that I have with me, and some of the other ones that might really help you bring that world of yours to the next step. So we're going to start off with William Manchester's national bestseller, A World Lit Only by Fire, The Medieval Mind and the Renaissance, Portrait of an Age. So this book takes the moments in time from medieval mind to the Renaissance and really throws back that curtain that we all keep in our minds about knights and that heroic age, and really pulls back that bright and shiny cover to the dark, nitty-gritty dirt beneath it. It shows us really what life was like. I'll read the back to you, so in case you get a chance to pick up. From tales of chivalrous knights to the barbarity of trial by an ordeal, no era has been a greater source of awe, horror, and wonder than the Middle Ages. In handsomely crafted prose, and with the grace and authority of his extraordinary gift for narrative history, William Manchester leads us through a civilization tottering on the brink of collapse to the grandeur of its rebirth. The dense explosion of energy that spawned some of history's greatest poets, philosophers, painters, adventurers, and reformers, as well as some of its most spectacular villains. the Renaissance. What this book really helps you do is take apart the cultural aspect of things and how it was to live in the Renaissance and the Middle Ages. And what this can do for you as a DM and your world building is to really get in the minds of the people of the world. What are they thinking? And what really went on in certain time periods. And it really creates this difference, I think, between what is written about and shown and what actually happened. And it allows you to create this kind of, I guess you could say, a duality in the kind of exposition that you put forward in your Dungeons and Dragons. Moving into fantasy kind of stuff for a while, what I would do to have written this book is amazing. George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones, The Song of Ice and Fire series. Book is amazing. As you can see, I'm reading it again. Amazing, amazing book. If you haven't gotten your hands on it, read it. If you're not aware, there's even a show on HBO now, 10-part series about the book. It's incredible. Really delves into an amazing realm of fantasy world and people, and is great inspiration for creating your own world and breathing life into its people, and that whole courtly side of things with kings and queens and backstabbing, intrigue, and it's just an amazing book that is really helping me evolve my world to the next step. Now this might seem a little odd, but I think this is a good point to bring up as a different kind of adventure that you could create, is to follow Sherlock Holmes. This is The Hound of the Baskervilles, a great novel. So as you can see, it's a little smaller, it's a little older, at least this version is. It's only about 200 pages. Absolutely amazing story. Sherlock Holmes, great way to throw a twist into your world and adventures, is to create a mystery. Throw a mystery at your characters for them to solve, if they're inclined to do so. If you think they're of that nature to try out mysteries, always go to Sherlock Holmes. That's what I do. Go to Sherlock Holmes. Always great stories, great intrigue, great things to just throw out, and really will help you lay out the foundation of a good mystery story or crime story. Next, Greg Hurwitz, I See You. Another mystery book. This one centers closely around a particular character in the book, and he happens to be a cop, and then what happens is he wakes up and is ripped from his bed and told that he's under arrest for murder. And what this does is really creates that mystery, but a unique twist that immediately hooks the player. I actually have planned to use a storyline similar to this book to really involve one of my own players at one point. Still loose, but a loose idea anyway, but it's great author, and yet another way to take your adventures from being the normal hack and slash or dungeon crawl, nothing wrong with them of course, but provide that next step, that other kind of adventure, if you will. Something that you can just grab a hold of and say, wow, that was one unique story. Excuse me while I take a drink. Moving on, we move to C.J. Sampson's Revelations. Now, this is a historical mystery. As you can see, I'm building into the mystery section. This is a historical mystery. It takes place in the spring of 1543, and it is what is the word I'm looking for? It's a historical fiction. That's the word I was looking for. It's a historical fiction taking place during the reign of King Henry VIII. So, what I found this book really helps is, where Greg Hurwitz and the Sherlock Holmes books don't help as much is the medieval or Victorian age-ish, that darker, gritty historical period in our time, but it's more easy to streamline into a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. These books are amazing, great reads, really helpful in making a darker world or a brighter world, depending on how you want to look at it, and then helping you build to the next level. While not necessarily research per se, reading these books does help me create a richer, deeper world. Down to the last two, and then I'll just talk about a couple other things, and then we'll be done for the day, at least with this video anyway, is Raymond E. Feist's Rides a Dread Legion, Book 1 of the Demon War Saga. Another great book. Really helped me as the initial starting point for my timeline. If you guys haven't checked out my timeline video for my campaign setting, I would encourage you to check it out. If you've read Rides a Dread Legion or any of other books by Raymond E. Feist, I would applaud you because he is an excellent author. He has I think it's over 15 books. Great story. Really, you can tell while reading his books that the world he's created and the timeline he creates, events all correlate. You can see how they've set up things later on in the past and in the future. And I found that doing that in my world really helps not only establish the timeline, but makes it feel alive and vibrant, where you can have legends about the past and then do a campaign involved in that past, and then it relates to the future, and it's all interconnected, and it's really great because by having this interconnectedness, it breathes more life into your world. Lastly is Winterbirth by Brian Ruckley from the Godless World trilogy. It's a world of ice, it is a world of blood, it is a godless world. Amazing trilogy of books. Really gets involved in more, at the middle of the book, the more large-scale wars, and really helped me set the foundation for my ideas about mass combat. Reading about war and large-scale battles from a narrative perspective really set the foundation for me. You can feel your heart pumping faster when you read these sections. And that, to me, was what I wanted to bring into my campaigns, by having this heart-pumping moment where it's just words, but from the words I envision it in my mind. That is what gave me the inspiration for mass combat. So those are just a few of the books that I have personally read, that I have an entire shelf of more of them, that really helped me create my world the way I wanted it to be, and am still evolving it into even greater things as I read more. Excuse me again. And I just wanted to talk about some other, real quick, last minute, a couple other non-fiction things that really are helpful. There's a great author. His name is Joseph Campbell, and he was a renowned mythologist. He passed away, I'm afraid. But he is an amazing author. He wrote, I think it's over 12 books. There's A Hero with 1,000 Faces, and books about comparative mythology and different mythologies of the world, which are indispensable if you want to really take a look into the mythologies of our world, across the world, and into making your own pantheon and how you want things to be laid out. And at the same time, you see this nice interconnectedness between the mythologies. So at the same time, it helps you build the same interconnectedness. And it's a really great way to help you build that aspect of your world. Lastly, I wanted to talk about books about swords, swordsmanship, sword styles, sword play, books about those kinds of things, about combat in general. Reading these kinds of manuals, if you will, I have a couple. I probably should have grabbed a couple of those, I'm afraid. But reading those kind of books, I feel, makes combat even more active in your games. if you can say, oh, you parried that blow, and oh, by the way, an orc comes in with a rip post and a nice flurry, and the character looks at you and goes, with a what? And a what now? And then you describe it as this even greater understanding of combat, then it's, oh, wow, that orc just did that? That's so cool. And you really can bring more life into combat. And if you understand the complexities of different kinds of weapons, and how to use them and how to fight with them, it helps you as a DM build better encounters and a better understanding of where men or monsters should be in combat. So this has been ways that I research a subject, along with a kind of introduction to some of the books that I read to help my creation of my world, and I hope that it will encourage some of you to go out and either pick up some more books and read them and create a better world for yourself and your players, or just inspires you to get out and read some more great books by some great authors. This has been Lycan 101. Thanks for watching.